Chapter 4, Blessing of the Energy Centers. He's going to talk a little bit about electromagnetic frequencies and wavelengths and different characteristics of light. There's a small section in here about the conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. I definitely recommend going and doing an entire book about that. Learn what the conscious mind is, learn what the subconscious mind is, learn what the unconscious mind is. I think I gave a brief overview of it in one of the other books. I'm not sure what, but it is worth learning what it is that is going on. Why are we dividing the mind in these three levels? Do they really exist in those three levels? I would take the time to go and do a deep dive on that yourself. There's plenty of books, plenty of materials, plenty of subjects, plenty of videos that you can do or watch or listen to. Section is definitely worth reading, definitely worth your time. Okay, so this is a section of the book that I found very interesting. We've heard of, or a lot of you may have heard of chakras. Maybe you've heard of like when I think of like the chakras, I think of like, I don't know, India or China or, you know, the third eye and like, oh, like the solar plexus and stuff like that. Like I've heard of these terms and stuff like that. But what he does is he goes in and associates each of these chakras with a actual scientific portion of the body. So from bottom to top, you have the sexual glands, the digestive, the adrenal, the thymus, thyroid, pineal, and pituitary. Getting a little dark outside. Okay, I mean, I guess I can do like a little brief dive into this just based off what I know. I hope I have all the colors here. Okay, there's a red one. There's an orange one. Damn it. Okay, there's a yellow one, but I don't have yellow. And it probably wouldn't show up. That's yellow. There's a green one. There's a blue one. There's a purple one and a pink one. Fuck. Okay, I drew it a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna give a super duper fast rundown of this, but I'm not gonna use the examples that he uses in the book. I'm gonna just go off of what I know. Okay, we'll start at the bottom. Root chakra. Root chakra, I would say okay, this would be your overall sense of security, safety, protection, being alive, the desire to stay alive, the experience just of the body, for real, just this is paramount first. This trumps all other desires. The desire to live, this exists here. When you are in a state where this is unbalanced, disrupted, whatever, if you're in that state, then you might be afraid or fearful or on edge or angry or anxious, or you may be experiencing those because you have an imbalanced root chakra. The root chakra is associated in the book with, okay, in the book it's totally different. I'm not gonna go off of the book. I'm gonna go off of what I know. This is associated with the element of earth. Why? Why is it associated with earth? Because the earth is like the body. It's what is here. It's the material realm. That's what the root chakra is. Second one is the orange one. That's the sacral chakra. This is associated with the emotional element of your being. So it's given the element of water. Why? Water is fluid, emotion. The terms are just associations to help us visualize it better. This would be your emotional expression, your creative expression, your sexual expression. That would happen in this sense. These would be like the organs, where this one would be the body as a whole. That's how I would look at it. These would be like the generative organs that we have, male and female. Third one is the solar plexus. It's the yellow. This one would be like the center of will. This would be your personal drive. In order to do anything, you would do it from the will center. The drive to go about doing any and everything ever would be will. Your will, your intent, your drive. This is associated with the element of fire, the actual driving force within us. Like I said, these are all mental associations. This entire thing is just but a mental map to help you understand the internal world that's going on within us. This map in particular was used India, China, worth studying. It's you don't have to believe it, but still take into your mind the associations just to help you understand how other people understood what it is that we're even doing, what we're being, what we're experiencing. This is just a map, but that's all this is. Fourth one is the heart chakra. The heart chakra, this I would say is who you are. This is where the root of your being exists. Notice how it is directly in the middle. There's 3 below it, 3 above it. These would be associated with the material world, the world of the body. These would be associated with the mind and the higher world that we experience. But the heart in the middle would be the bridge linking the above world to the below world. This is who you are. This is how you express yourself. This carries your entire being. This is associated with the element of air. I would say that the most important quality for this to express itself correctly is honesty. You need to be honest about how you feel. You need to be honest about how you need to be honest about the actions that you take. You need to be, well, we're going to get into those, but you need to be honest about, and the next one would be the throat chakra, this blue one, but this is associated with expression. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but how you express yourself, how you act, how you feel. You know what I'm saying? This is the bridging of all of these other ones. This is going to be how you relate to all the other ones. Expression, okay. I just said this one is the throat chakra, and it's associated with expression. So if anything below it is out of balance, which I don't like, nothing can ever be out of balance. It implies that like, oh, this one's over here and this one's over here and this one's over here. Like, what are you talking about? Out of balance means, I would say, just observe how it is functioning, and it's not functioning to how you would want it to, then they will always function. There's no stopping them from functioning. That's a terrible way to put it. It's not out of balance, it's not off, it's not blocked. They will function regardless of anything that goes on ever. It's just how they are being expressed. That is your job to do. To balance them is a way to say, to correct them in order to express in how you would want. Any ideal action ever that you want to be expressed can be expressed. It's just you have to pick it. If your feelings are off, you may not express yourself correctly. If you aren't doing the correct actions, you may not express yourself into your full potential. You may express incorrect action. You may express correct action. You may express, this is your expression, your voice, your movement, it's not necessarily the throat, but more so expression as a whole, how it's getting across from the other world into this world. You think and then you express the thought. You know what I'm saying? It's all connected. There's no separations for real between these things, but we do so in order to comprehend thought, the unmanifested world. Sixth chakra, the third eye, everybody's favorite fucking thing. Oh, I've unlocked my third eye. You have a blocked third eye. Every single person on earth has their third eye open. If you didn't, you couldn't have a thought. There's no blocking this. There's no, oh, I got my third eye now. No, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. This is the entirety of imaginative thinking. All of this, the degree to which you are able to play around in your imagination, manipulate your thoughts and, you know what I'm saying, have dominion over yourself. That is the third eye. Anything that has to do with anything about the imagination, the seeing, the awareness, the all that right there, bro. This is associated with light. So we had earth. Fuck it, let me just write it down. Earth. How do you spell earth? That's how you spell earth? That doesn't even look right. Damn, that don't look right. You ever spell something, that shit just don't look right. Whatever. Okay, I went back and put space slash the ether where things are being expressed at. Light, for obvious reasons. These are all associations. This is not literal. Please don't sit here and get hung up on terms and definitions and writing notes and shit like that. No, these must be transcended and understood directly. You can't sit here and try and fucking throw words and fucking try and paint it as a picture, because in reality it's not a picture. It's nothing that you can be, there's nothing that can be grasped or thought of or looked at. It just must be experienced. Unfortunately, there's no way to teach it. So fuck it, good luck. Have fun, do it yourself. Okay, if this exists as a realm of thought, I would say this exists as consciousness in general. This is the entirety of everything, your entire being. This isn't viewing the world from any of these. This is viewing the world in its totality, in its full aspect, just consciousness in general. So that's how I would explain this. Do your own research, go into depth, get nerdy, get crazy, get weird, study all the maps, and remember that they exist as maps. That's it. It's just a map. It's trying to point you towards something that nobody can point to. It's up to you. It's going to give you a lot of examples of how these centers express themselves, worth looking at. Yeah, I feel like I've done enough for this section. We're going to be moving on to Chapter 5, Reconditioning the Body to a New Mind. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Engaging in this process is difficult. It requires becoming a new person, essentially. It requires you to re-identify with the way that you engage with life. What does that mean? It means that you must be willing to release your ideas and beliefs about yourself, about the world. This is easier said than done, because doing so it feels like death, because it literally is death. It is the old self dying to the new self, but it is what is required if you want to change your life. If you don't want to change your life, be who you are forever. Be you, bro. Like, it ain't really no, you don't got to get better. You don't have to do better. You don't. That's the truth. You don't have to get better, bro. But a lot of us want to get better. So in order to do so, you have to turn your back on yourself, on your old self, on what you are now, in order to become something new. You must sacrifice your old self to your new self. That means your habits may need to change. That means your mindset may need to change. You may need to do different things. You may have to pick up a book for once. You may have to do some push-ups and sit-ups, you fat fuck. You may have to do some push-ups and sit-ups. Your new self, your new identity, your new life exists only initially as thought, pure potential. It is up to you to climb towards it. Sometimes you gotta fucking bear crawl. It might be a fucking mountain that you gotta climb raw. No tools. Just go and get up there. You might have to put yourself on the line. You may have to expose yourself. You may have to come to the terms that you're not all that. You're not that man. You're not that guy. You're not him. And doing that cracks our self-image, our ego, our sense of self, our identity. how we feel about ourselves, we can shatter it by having an experience that doesn't align with what we think. And you can have two choices. You can react to it and defend it, like defend yourself against that, or you can be honest and truthful, and you can change as a response to it. You can learn from it. Those are the only two options. There is no staying still. That is retreat or engage. There is backwards or forward. There is no standstill. It's going to speak more about how the thoughts and emotions are linked. We know that already. It's going to talk about energy in the sense of literal physical energy. It's going to give a lot of diagrams like this. I don't want you to get hung up on any of them. Maybe they're pretty pictures and all that, and looking at all these toroidal fields and frequency pictures and all this shit. Maybe it does something for you. Ultimately, these are all just diagrams to try to get you to understand one thing, and you can't understand it unless you experience it. So I hope they help you out, and I hope they don't confuse you. It's going to go over a list of emotions. I would definitely read them just to, again, get acquainted with the different types of emotion, the entirety of the whole scale that makes up the word emotion. You know what I'm saying? You have your super extremes, you're angry and then you have your super blissed out happiness, fun, but all the scope of it, everything in between, all of them, you need to at least have some type of memory of it. So in order for you to change your body into a new genetic expression, the inner emotion you create has to be greater than the emotion from the past outer experience. 100%. The dominating emotion will always triumph. I don't give a damn. This is just the law. If you say you want this, but you always end up doing that, that emotion is greater than that one. Going to do anything, it requires emotion, it requires energy, it requires effort, it requires some form of participation. Whichever you are filled up with the most, that's what you're gonna do. If your drive to change is greater than all of your other emotions, you will change. But the dominating desire will win. There's no ifs, ands, buts, cuts, nothing around. You can't beat around this. You can't change this. This is just the law. So it's up to you to encourage what emotion you want dominating your body, your emotions, your frequency, whatever you want to embody. It's your job to continuously pour into yourself and water it and grow that type of mindset or personality or desire. You can do it. Even if you want to be a killer, if you want to be the best killer in the world, you got the free will to do that, but you got to nurse that. Moving on, chapter 6, case studies, living examples of truth. We're probably going to skip this whole chapter. Bunch of examples. Yep, chapter 6 is short-lived because it's just a bunch of examples, and we're not going to be doing that. So if you want to read that, do it yourself. Chapter 7, Heart Intelligence. The heart is our sensory organ that guides our decision-making abilities as well as our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Remember when I just had that diagram up? I probably shouldn't have erased it. The heart chakra is the one that expresses all. The heart is important. You hear it all the time. How much emphasis how much emphasis is placed on the heart just in the world in general. Like, the heart is a big deal. We all know that. Like, your heart, it pumps your entire blood. But this chapter is going to emphasize just how important the heart is. And it truly is. It's the connecting factor. I wish I didn't erase all that shit. But it's the connecting factor between everything in your mind, everything in the intangible world, and everything that you are experiencing in your world. It is the bridge between them. It is very, very, very important. So I would just go ahead and read that whole, let me make sure. Yeah, probably read that chapter. Okay, he's going to describe elevated emotions, gratitude, expression or appreciation, thankfulness, inspiration, freedom, kindness, selflessness, compassion, love, and joy. You don't have to experience all of those. Like, if that makes you feel uncomfortable, bro, like, this is not necessarily good or positive emotions. These are just emotions. So you can be a highly conscious person without being like, thank you, thank you. Like, it's thankfulness and gratitude and love and joy. Like, they usually depict like a upbeat, like, fucking person. It is more than, the emotion is more than how it looks, and more about how it's feeling, but really how it's being expressed. You can't really understand that other than understanding it. This energy is related to being fulfilled and at peace with yourself and your surroundings. This does not mean that you're in a state of relaxation. Being at peace, you can totally be at peace underwater. It is a mindset that enables you to deal with your life just from a higher level of being. This is why you can be at any position in life and feel fulfilled or feel dissatisfied. It is a acceptance of your life. It's not like being zenned out and peaceful and all that shit. He does give a bunch of like diagrams of a bunch of machines and stuff that measure brain waves and all that, if that is, you know, if that would help convince you of this. I'm not gonna say just sit here and believe all these charts and graphs and diagrams and stuff like that. I would say go ahead and give this stuff a shot for yourself. Yeah, lots and lots of diagrams in this one. Yeah, I would say just the biggest principle with dealing with the heart is honesty. It's self-honesty, it's self-reflection, it's being able to be honest with the self. It's not, heart is not lovey-dovey. I'm not trying to paint that picture, and I don't want you to be confused by all these positive sounding ass words. He says right here, he says they can think positively all they want, but without a corresponding feeling or emotion equal to that thought, the message cannot be felt or understood throughout the rest of the body. 100%. If you don't put any action behind it, if you don't put any emotion behind it, it will never, it just exists over there in the thought realm. Feeling is what produces the emotional charge to stimulate you into a different destiny, whatever. But it's 100% true. If you are not, if you just have the thought, but you're unwilling to put any action or effort or energy behind the thought just, you know what I'm saying, it's pretty much never existed. It never will exist. It just exists as a thought. But you have to have the will to go and engage it. That's the emotional side that he's talking about in this part. Yeah, this chapter is definitely worth taking a look at just for understanding the heart, how it relates to the rest of the body and the mind. All right, y'all, let's finish this book up. All right.